The next day, Kong wakes up and remembers what happened the previous night. He feels very embarrassed because Somi had to scold him. And when they went to the secretary's office, she suspected Kong's behavior had changed and felt he was interested in Somi. Later, Kong goes to the warehouse to get something but accidentally knocks over his old drawing box. Before he can put it back, he receives a call from work and leaves quickly, leaving the warehouse door open. At that moment, Somi is running after her dog, which enters the warehouse. She tries to go in after it but doesn't see the drawings Kong made for her when she was young. She would have liked to see them to understand Kong's identity, but never mind. Jennifer arrives afterward and tells her that Kong doesn't like anyone entering the warehouse and asks her to leave. Somi explains that she entered to get her dog and nothing else, and she leaves. Later, Kong learns that his father will arrive soon to sell the house. Kong finds no reason to delay him this time and is upset that the house, which was the reason Somi stayed with him, will soon be gone. He thinks about asking her to come with him to the new house and wonders how and when to tell her. Suddenly, they are surprised when Somi says she found a small new house for herself and will live there. This upsets Kong, and he leaves angrily. Of course, Chan finds out and gets angry too. He tells Somi she should live with them in the new house, but Somi thanks him and says she will visit them from time to time. The next day, Somi goes to work and learns that they need to go to the hotel where Ran will hold her next concert to oversee the work there. They go together but discover that the car is broken down, so they have to take the train. The team notices that Somi is tense, so they try to comfort her and ask if it's because of the article that's going to be published about her. The article mentions that she has returned to playing after a 13-year break to gain public sympathy and sell more concert tickets. So, she goes to Kong's office to give him the bow he had asked her not to participate with in the concert. She tells him she knows everything and agreed to it only in exchange for the chance to return to playing. He responds that even if she has accepted it, he never could. He can't allow the girl he loves to go through something like that. This is a huge surprise for Somi. She's left speechless, thinking to herself that this kind of talk is for adults, and she doesn't even know how to process it. But eventually, she decides to choose music and walks away from Kong. He is stunned by her reaction. Somi returns to practice alone, playing until one of the violin strings snaps and cuts her hand. In that moment, she feels like she's going down the wrong path. For the first time in her life, she's not enjoying playing. Meanwhile, Kong is looking everywhere for her and doesn't know where she could be. When he checks the rehearsal space, he finds it locked. But Somi is inside alone, crying. The next day, she visits Kong and tells him she would end up hating music if it ever became a source of humiliation. That's why she decided not to participate in the concert. Kong is very happy with her decision and tells her that bigger opportunities will definitely come her way. Later, Somi recalls Kong's confession of love and becomes shy around him, trying to avoid him. Meanwhile, her coach says that she's not happy with him. Her coach talks to Ran and says he knows she's been feeling jealous of Somi. He tells her that jealousy has changed her and that Somi is a kind person who would never hurt anyone. He advises her to let go, especially now that they're on different paths. Ran agrees that he's right and tries to stop thinking about Somi. The next day, Somi is helping Kong prepare for Ran's band concert. Kong notices that she looks upset and tries to cheer her up. Just then, they learn that one of the musicians is missing. Somi is hesitant at first since she didn't bring her violin. But she decides to help out and experiences the thrill of being on stage once again. She performs beautifully and Ran is genuinely happy for her. After the performance, Kong gives Somi a drawing he made of her and tells her she played wonderfully. He confesses his love again. This time, Somi tells him that she loves him too, loves the drawing and praises him for his talent. She asks him never to stop drawing and never to stop loving her. The next day, Somi tells Kong about her uncle. She once saw him in the city when he had told her he was traveling. And she believes that whatever made him lie back then is likely the same reason he disappeared now. Kong decides to search for her uncle himself. He prints flyers and distributes them all over the city, hoping someone will recognize him. At the same time, the solo rowing competition Chan has been preparing for is taking place. Everyone goes to cheer him on. Chan is in pain from a leg injury but decides to compete anyway, unwilling to let his hard work go to waste. He joins the race and almost loses. But in a final push, he speeds up and wins first place. Everyone is overjoyed and very proud of him. After the race, they learn that Chan's leg injury is serious and he's admitted to the hospital for specialized care. While at the hospital, Tai appears and sees Somi. He tells her that he has searched for her for a long time and couldn't find her. She smiles and asks who he is. He tells her he's her childhood friend and that he has kept track of her all these years. She agrees to sit and talk with him, asking if he knows where her uncle is. He tells her that he heard her uncle left the country, but had been paying for her hospital bills all these years. Then he tells her that the friend who was with her on the bus during the accident passed away. This shocks Somi deeply. The next day, she visits her friend's grave with Kong. She cries, because she had always hoped her friend was still alive. At the grave, Kong sees her friend's name and realizes it's the same girl he saw with Somi on the bus 13 years ago. That's when Kong finally realizes that Somi is the same girl he had fallen in love with back in the day. He holds her tightly, thanks her for still being alive, and tells her everything will be okay as long as she's safe. They return home and Kong starts remembering everything about the accident. He begins blaming himself more. Chan notices something is off with Kong but doesn't know what's going on. He tries to get closer to him to find out, but Kong won't open up to anyone. The next day, Somi goes to the storage room looking for Kong but doesn't find him. Instead, she discovers the old drawing he made of her, which makes her emotional. It means he's known who she was all along. She starts searching for him but can't find him. She tells Chan that the drawing is of her at 17 and believes Kong must know more than he told her. Chan takes her to look for Kong at the office, but he's not there either. Meanwhile, Kong is at the airport, preparing to leave the country and disappear. When Somi returns home, she finds a letter in her room from Kong. In it, he confesses that he has loved her since high school. He tells her that he saw her on the bus the day of the accident, he's felt guilty all these years and thought she had died. This revelation devastates Somi. She realizes that Kong had been living with the burden of guilt, thinking he was the cause of everything. She heads to the bridge where she used to sit as a child, thinking deeply about Kong. At that moment, Kong arrives. He tells her he couldn't go through with leaving her and won't run away from his problems again. She tells him he was never the cause of the accident, and then reveals her side of the story. 13 years ago, she was at the airport saying goodbye to her family. She said goodbye to her uncle when she saw a lost child crying. She helped him find his mother, but when she returned to her spot, her violin was gone. She searched for it and learned that a young man had turned it in to Lost and Found. That young man was Kong. She had tried to find him in the airport to thank him, and she did see him from afar, but didn't manage to speak to him. A few days later, she saw him again in the neighborhood and found out he lived there. She kept watching him all the time, and every time she saw him, her heartbeat would speed up noticeably. One day, she saw him on the bus and decided to go thank him and give him a bell just like hers as a gift, but she was extremely shy at that moment. Kong tells her that this still doesn't mean he's not the cause of the accident, but she tells him he's not the reason. When she asked him for directions, it was just a way to start a conversation. She already knew her stop well and was going to get off there anyway, just like she always did. At that point, Kong tells her that he loves her and is grateful she came back into his life again. She tells him that she loves him too, and she promises to stay by his side forever. The next day, Chan meets with Sumi and confesses that he has feelings for her. But he knows that she and Kong love each other. He says he had to tell her how he felt so he could move on. And he asks her to stay by Kong's side because it's the first time he's seen him this happy in years. He also asks if they could remain close friends, which shocks Sumi and leaves her speechless. She ends up walking away without saying anything. Meanwhile, Kong is at the hospital with Tai. And Tai tells him that the man responsible for the accident had come by and wanted to meet Sumi to apologize. He also reveals that the man was the one who had been paying Sumi's hospital bills all those years because her uncle had stopped paying a long time ago. Kong tells Sumi what he learned and asks her to meet the man who caused the accident. She agrees, but the moment she sees him, she gets furious and tells him he's the reason her friend died. He apologizes repeatedly and admits he had been drinking and wasn't in his right mind that night. But Sumi says that's no excuse and tells him he's a criminal who should be punished. The man says she's right and admits he was afraid to turn himself in. But is now ready to do so, for her sake. At that moment, Jennifer appears and recognizes the man. She tells him he's the one responsible for her husband's death. He had also been on the same bus as Sumi. After the man leaves, Sumi tells Kong she wants to find her uncle no matter what. Kong then tells her that he found out her uncle declared bankruptcy and also separated from his wife. Sumi is shocked, since her uncle and his wife had loved each other deeply. Kong says he knows where the wife is now and offers to take her there. They go to her shop. They look for her, but they don't find her. So they decide to head back home, feeling defeated. Suddenly, her uncle's wife appears, calls out to Sumi and asks to speak with her. Sumi immediately asks where her uncle is. The woman cries and tells her that her uncle stayed by her side for over a year after the accident, waiting for her to wake up. But at the same time, his business was going through a major crisis and eventually went bankrupt. On top of that, he was dealing with heart problems. Eventually, he passed away from the pain and stress. Sumi is completely shocked. She is shocked and struggles to process the news. She had always hoped to see her uncle one more time. Sumi falls into depression, and Kong stays by her side the whole time to support her and help her through the pain. Thanks to his care, Sumi is able to recover and return to her normal self. A few days later, she receives a message from Ran, suggesting that Sumi study music formally, so she can become a certified musician and participate in international concerts. Sumi asks for Kong's opinion, and he tells her that no one else can make that decision for her. It's hers alone. Sumi thinks about it for a while, then decides to accept the offer and go abroad. Kong tells her he'll come visit her in Berlin in a few months. On the day of her flight, Sumi decides to go to the airport alone because she doesn't like goodbyes. But at the last moment, she changes her mind, cancels her trip, and goes to Kong. She tells him that she's decided to stay in Korea because she doesn't want to waste a single moment away from the people she loves. Kong hugs her and tells her she made the right decision and that he loves her. She tells him that she loves him. She tells him that she loves him too and doesn't want to be apart from him. From then on, they live together and become a beautiful family. And that's how our series ends. If you like this summary, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel and activate the notification bell so you don't miss any new recaps.